Do you hear that, Mr. Metaverse?
That is the sound of inevitability. It is the sound of your death.
It always pleases me greatly when new tech that is ultimately useless or, just ripe for exploitation is going down the drain as corporations try to pursue them in an attempt to find the next gold rush, only for their attempts to wither and die. In the case of Meta, they're still insistent that the metaverse is the future, but they've definitely taken a step back and are veering to other directions first, and then there are other companies who've outright completely scrapped their metaverse plans and divisions. Here's an article from news outlet Quartz that summarizes it best as it lists Meta, Microsoft, and Disney as companies who are, quote, reversing their bets on the metaverse. Meta, again, hasn't fully backed away from the metaverse. They are placing their focus elsewhere right now as they are laying off tens of thousands of employees as their metaverse plans are not taken off the way they wanted to, as emerging technologies like AI become the focus. But companies like Microsoft and Disney have determined at this point that the metaverse is just not a worthwhile investment, especially in this current economic landscape. Here are some quotes from tech experts and analysts, which honestly tracks with what is my perception of what is currently going on with the metaverse. It reads right here, the metaverse hype is over, but the real challenge has been the cost of the metaverse. It is not inclusive. The software and gadgets are too expensive. And then here's somebody else who said, people are still Googling the meaning of the metaverse. Again, it only appeals to gaming, art, and fashion, and even then only within a very niche group. It does not meet the needs of many people. That's still the main question surrounding the metaverse. What does it exactly offer by putting real-world elements in this virtual environment, by trying to conjure up NFTs that encourage people to invest money in risky propositions in a speculative market rife with scams, schemes, cons, theft, you name it. An environment where the way you interact with people are through these avatars that give off major uncanny valley vibes that are disturbing to interact with. And while that might change in the future with emerging technologies allowing people to essentially scan themselves into virtual worlds and have their likeness appear in a virtual world, lifelike avatars won't be enough to counteract the fact that the metaverse has nothing of value. While there's some cool applications to virtual worlds where people can come together and interact in, the notion that the metaverse will become the new way to interact with the internet and this is how we'll be doing work from here on out, all in the metaverse, and the way companies are pushing for things like NFT land, NFT property that you can buy whose value can increase and decrease when that land isn't really land, it's just valueless receipts towards digital assets that offer genuinely nothing to your life. That's where the metaverse just becomes this nebulous thing that companies want to push as a fad that they hope people will fall into so that they can find creative new ways to keep an unsustainable infinite growth going. More than anything, the metaverse sounds like a solution in search of a problem to fulfill corporate agendas and to find new forms of monetization. So far, Meta has poured roughly a whopping $36 billion into the metaverse, but with the current economic landscape and Meta not growing to the extent that it hopes, the company's now taken a step back from the metaverse as Mark Zuckerberg focuses on cutting costs and streamlining projects in what he dubs the year of efficiency. And part of that involved laying off tens of thousands of employees. A few months back, the company cut at least 11,000 jobs, and it's currently planning to cut 10,000 more jobs. And in the words of Mark Zuckerberg himself, now the largest investment that they're making isn't in the metaverse, the concept around which the company rebranded from Facebook to Meta. Their single largest investment is in advancing AI and building it into every one of our products. Our leading work building the metaverse and shaping the next generation of computing platforms also remains central to defining the future of social connection, but it's currently not their single largest investment. It's not their number one priority currently, when even Meta, the single biggest cheerleader for the metaverse, is expressing reluctance and hesitation surrounding the metaverse. Things are dire. But what else is dire? A compromising web browsing experience, which is what NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video, is for. This is a company that is dedicated to making the internet a better experience for you by decluttering your web browsing, by protecting you from online threats, censorship, and surveillance. and more. One of my favorite use cases of NordVPN is being able to use one of its thousands of international servers to appear as if I'm in another country, allowing me to watch content that would normally be blocked in the US. But where NordVPN really shines is the way it basically puts a force field around your internet activity. Beyond encrypting your online data, concealing your IP address and location, and keeping your online activity private, the super simple to activate and seamlessly integrated threat protection feature will fend off harmful websites, web trackers, intrusive and malicious ads, malware, infected files, you name it. This is on top of other security measures like the purchasable NordPass Password Manager add-on and the built-in dark web monitor that will let you know if sensitive information was exposed. NordVPN is just impressively comprehensive and intuitive, offering relief from intrusion and ease of mind from invasion in your online day-to-day while being effortlessly customizable. Not to mention that with one account you can protect up to 6 devices of your choice, from workstation computers to myriad mobile devices NordVPN supports. You never know when you'll fall victim to malicious actors and websites online. It's always better to be safe than sorry, so protect yourself with NordVPN and use my link nordvpn.com/yongya for an exclusive deal with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And it seems as though Disney is also going the better safe than sorry route, as they believe now that investing too much in the metaverse currently will lead to a future full of regrets, which is why Disney is pulling out of the metaverse by discontinuing their metaverse division. Here's news outlet Binance explaining via this article titled "Disney Eliminates Its Metaverse Division Following Restructuring Plan," that gives us a deeper insight into what exactly happened behind the scenes. So Walt Disney is currently in the middle of a restructuring effort that intends to reduce its operating costs by a whopping $5.5 billion. Part of that involves laying off roughly 7,000 staff over the next 2 months, which is in line with the number of people that other major mega corporations have laid off. And among the laid off 7,000 employees will be 50 employees who were part of the Metaverse division that has now been axed. The only remaining member of that division is Michael White, who was the head of the company's consumer products unit. This is a complete 180 from their plans back in 2022, more specifically mid-2022, when Disney began developing its Metaverse strategy, with Polygon being chosen as the blockchain of choice. Also, this commitment was further solidified in September of 2022, just a couple months ago, when it posted a job offering for an in-house counsel position specializing in NFTs and DeFi. Despite this apparent effort, by the following year, Disney's metaverse plans remained unclear. They were completely directionless on this front because I don't think corporations really know how to leverage the metaverse or how it can really bring something that the masses won't be able to resist. Now, as far as Disney's concerned, they had plans for a virtual world simulator that would apparently facilitate headset-free augmented reality attractions at its theme parks, which was set for implementation by the end of 2021. Following an assessment from McKinsey & Company that sought out cost-cutting opportunities, Disney announced its intention to reduce operational expenses and staff count due to financial instability and increasing streaming competition. The metaverse is supposed to be the future, and if companies really believed it, you wouldn't think that amidst cost-cutting, the first thing they'd immediately do is completely shut down the metaverse division. You'd think they'd keep that division around if they really believed in the metaverse for the long term, but the fact that they were backing out so aggressively goes to show that even the corporations who've been bullish on this whole concept of the metaverse are having doubts about whether the metaverse is a good long-term investment, whether it's an endeavor that can actually succeed and garner mass interest. And then last but not least, there is Microsoft. In a report by news outlet The Information, it was reported that Microsoft has killed its industrial metaverse team after 4 months. Microsoft has killed a team it formed 4 months ago to help customers use the metaverse in industrial settings. This was published back in February 9th, 2023. The group's roughly 100 employees have all been laid off, much like how Disney laid off its 50 employees dedicated to the metaverse, except for that one executive. Microsoft created its industrial metaverse core team in October to help build software interfaces for operating the control systems behind electrical power plants, industrial robotics, and transportation networks. So Microsoft's metaverse endeavor was less for the general public and more about industrial elements, about making work more efficient in certain areas like power plants, industrial robotics, and transportation networks. But that's just something that didn't really pan out. Much like with Meta and Disney, for Microsoft, this was all part of enacting cost-cutting measures. And once again, the fact that the first thing that's going is something metaverse related goes to show the kind of faith that even corporations have on the metaverse. And if the faith of corporations are wavering, then how can the masses have any sort of faith that the metaverse is actually the future? It's already hard enough for the masses to exactly define what NFTs, metaverse, crypto, and all that junk is, blockchain, you name it. When corporations are failing to really give us any sort of good explanation or justification as to how this will better our lives, that's when you lose the masses. That's when the masses will just move on and look for just more interesting ventures, such as AI, which is where Microsoft is placing their focus, much like how Meta is doing. Microsoft is taking part of its resources from metaverse initiatives to put into other areas like artificial intelligence. And we've already seen their big push with Bing and the way that's being updated to have AI elements in there so that it's not just a basic search engine, but rather you can have a quote unquote conversation with Bing and have it do all kinds of different tasks based on the prompts that you give it. And honestly, the technology of AI, while currently there are many questions about the boundaries that we need to draw so that it can be used ethically, AI as a tool for certain processes and to make certain things more efficient actually can have useful applications. Right now, the way AI is being utilized is kind of going a bit out of control, and regulations need to kind of reel it back in. Once they do, I think AI can become a useful part of people's day-to-day if implemented in an ethical way. In gaming, we've already seen great applications of AI where performance of games can be improved by having AI do a lot of the graphical heavy work, and that way you can get high fidelity visuals with all settings turned on with very minor compromises in visual fidelity while being able to have appropriate performance. There are applications like that that produce really impressive results and that genuinely benefit people's experiences with a medium. And I think AI has the potential to do that across the board as long as it's not exploited and as long as we're not engaging in what AI currently is doing when it comes to art, which is essentially stealing other people's work and then taking amalgams of different pieces that were stolen from other people to generate certain images or certain audio or whatever you type in the prompt for the AI to produce. AI can be a powerful tool, but how powerful it is also means that it can be exploited in powerful ways. So there's still a lot we have to think about when it comes to the place that AI will have in the long-term future of our society. But I think the exploration of AI, drawing the boundaries where they need to be, but applying them where they can be genuinely useful, will be far more productive than throwing billions upon billions away into this metaverse thing that I still, for the life of me, cannot see what the use of it is, aside from corporations wanting to exert more control over people's lives and incentivize people to spend money by treating digital assets that offer nothing as investment opportunities, very speculative and potentially dangerous investment opportunities. It'll be very interesting to see what the next decade holds for the metaverse, whether concepts and technology surrounding it will evolve enough that eventually it'll become something viable, something people will be like, oh, okay, I'm starting to see the use of it now, or whether the metaverse will continue to elude us when it comes to what the hell is it for, other than to make corporations more money, other than to give corporations more reasons to, get personal information from us and use that information to profit, to do all kinds of nefarious things. I just don't see how the metaverse can be in any way, shape, or form fruitful in the long term based on what we are currently being presented about it. And clearly, plenty of corporations are backing away and showing that they themselves really don't know if they can trust that the metaverse has a fruitful future. People aren't buying into what currently feels like a giant fad. And so long as the metaverse continues to be the butt of jokes as its uselessness becomes more and more apparent, I'm happy to see more and more corporations realizing the same thing, realizing, hey, I don't think we can actually make money off of this because people aren't falling for this. I'm happy to see them back away, and I'm happy to see the metaverse, just conversation and discourse, fade away until something genuinely useful and interesting happens surrounding it. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on Meta kind of backing away a little bit from the metaverse, and then Disney and Microsoft completely shutting down their Metaverse divisions. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.